today, draft time, and he fixed the super season. My bad. My bad, bro. My bad. No idea who will be drafting. Hey, Logan.
The Hokie luck keeps on going, y'all.
Another Hokie.
We here with star tight end Logan Thomas. Logan, how you doing, man?
Doing well. Appreciate y'all having me.
No problem. So the first question I want to ask you is, how's the recovery been? The last time we saw you was, I believe, against the Raiders, and you had that injury. Think you'll be ready for week 1?
That's the goal. That's the ultimate goal. Like, my target date is a little bit later, but I'm gonna hit on my recovery. I'm moving well, so target goal week 1.
That's awesome.
And Logan, you actually highlight something that happens in every draft. You had to switch positions. You were a quarterback at Virginia Tech. You're a tight end now. So how easy or how difficult would you say the transition was from quarterback to tight end?
It's gonna sound bad, but it wasn't as hard as I thought it was gonna be. Pass game came easy. I was able to pick it up and go. Like, that was simple. But the run game is a completely different monster. Those dudes outweigh me. They're stronger than me. They know what they're doing. So it was kind of just trying to figure out what I was doing in that regard. But now I've started stepping to my own in that place.
And speaking of quarterback, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about Carson Wentz and what he potentially could bring to the offense this year. How excited are you for the new quarterback that's in town in DC?
I'm excited for him. I think just like anybody, if he takes care of the football, we'll be fine. He's a good dude. He's a grinder. He's been getting after it these first 2 weeks. So I'm excited to see what he does. I think he can open up things for this offense.
So you were a pivotal member of that 2020 NFC East Championship team. So can you take us through Week 17 in Philly as the clock was winding down and you guys clinched the NFC East title?
So I've been to the playoffs a couple times before, but I didn't feel like I contributed the way I wanted to. And then finally getting the opportunity to be one of those guys that contribute, it meant the world. But then, it was a must win. We win, we're in. And so when we knew that we kind of had it in the books, there was nothing like it, man. Just bringing a playoff appearance to this team, but also growing up loving the team, there's no better feeling.
We're nervous out here, but I forgot to say, we're DMVSportsZone, right? We cover all DMV sports teams, professional, collegiate teams, and of course, you are a Hokie. I want to ask you, like I asked Kendall Fuller, what from that Hokie experience being at Virginia Tech helped you most when it came to the NFL, and particularly when it came to playing for this team right here?
I think the love that the people from the DMV show, man, to be honest. At Virginia Tech, obviously, it's always live. And then anytime I'm out around here or in D.C., down in Ashburn, all the fans are always showing love, always got our back. And that's one thing that you can always count on.
Oh, you spent so much time representing the DMV. You played at Virginia Tech. You now play for the Commanders. What do you feel like is your favorite part of the D.C. experience?
Honestly, I think it's the people. The people make the area. The people, if they're jerks and you didn't want to be around them, it would suck to be out there, right? But just being a part of it, just the love that we have for our sports up here, it really makes a difference.
You're a tight end for the Washington Commanders. Thoughts on John Bates and the tight end group around you, and do you expect a big second year out of John Bates?
John is one of the best rookie tight ends I've ever been around. I've been around a couple. We had a guy in Detroit that we drafted 8th overall. Great player. Will continue to be a great player in TJ Hawkinson, but John is so smart, so savvy, and one heck of a run blocker especially. And he gives this offense an extra dimension that sometimes I can't bring. So what a great kid he is, and I enjoy being around him.
So, Logan, what would you say is your outlook for the 2022 season?
I think it's playoffs are nothing for this team, man. We got the team, man. We got players in every single position. Obviously, maybe one or two here and there. Obviously, the draft takes a couple of those positions, but we're so close. And, last year, I think if it wasn't for injuries, we were back in the playoffs again. And this year, our expectations for playoffs are nothing.
Speaking of being so close, what's up with Terry? Is he getting his contract extension? What are your thoughts on at least what he brings to the table for this team, and how has it been? I believe he participated in the off-the-field drills thus far in the offseason, but thoughts on Terry and his situation, I guess?
Obviously, as a player, I want all the players to get their money, man. Do what you got to do to get your money. I don't think Terry won't be in this building. I think he'll be here. I think they end up working something out you look at John Allen last year, he was due for an extension. He didn't get it until July. So I wouldn't see any difference here. Terry's taking the right approach, though. You know, he's a guy who's played a lot of football. He doesn't need these on-field experiences right now, as some of the other guys do. He'll be fine. He'll be out there wearing that maroon and gold, the burgundy and gold when it comes week one, and he'll be another pivotal part for us.
Hey, man. So my last question is, do you remember what it was like when you were drafted? Could you just take us through that briefly?
Yeah, definitely. The draft is such a huge part for any person who's come to the league, even guys who are undrafted, because the guys who are undrafted get that chip on their shoulder, like, man, I should have been drafted. I mean, I couldn't go in 7 rounds, so you got to pick me up. So a guy like J.D. McKissick is an undrafted guy, baller. So it's those guys that have that chip on their shoulder and go. But for me, drafted in the 4th round, it was a blessing. It's a dream come true. All that hard work has paid off.
And I don't know if you see Logan, but there's a lot of love in the chat for you. We see Logan right here, Thomas Hill. Yeah, Logan is such a W. The last question I want to ask you, Logan, don't want to take up too much more of your time, but there's been some chirping throughout the offseason about Coach Rivera and like his performance as far as the head coach, 2 7-win seasons. We've sort of tried to like stick up for Ron Rivera and like what he is, what he brings to our team. What has the experience been like the last couple of years being coached under him? And do you believe, he can lead us to the promised land where we haven't been in 30 years now?
Absolutely, he can get the job done. His first meeting, he walked in and said, "Look, man, I got 10 years. We're getting a championship in them 10 years, and I'm walking out of here." And that was the first thing he said in the first meeting. And you got to respect a man who says that. He puts it on the table, and he does that every single day. I love the man. He's the best head coach I've ever played for. And I think we won't even have to have this conversation after this year.
Logan, we want to thank you so much for your time. And we might need to change this channel to Hokie Sports Zone in a second.
No, we have a lot of Hokie content on here, and if you want to look us up, DMV Sports Zone, Abdullah has like a couple of Enter Sandman like blogs as well and stuff. So yeah, it's really fire. But again, thank you so much for being on here. And can we get a picture with you before? Okay, all right. Let me get to.